What it is, everybody. Breaking news. I'm just going live. I think the press conference is about to start, actually. So I'm going to try to turn that on right now. Let's see if there are. Breaking news. Yeah, I might have to update the title. They were killed, apparently. Shocking violence in the nation's capital today. We wonder what it's going to start. I have the AP feed up. I can show it to you. The press conference is about to start. Let me try a different feed here. Press conference 23 watching Fox 13 Tampa Bay. Oh, here it is.
General Pam Bondi,
Start from the beginning.
who was speaking to the president.
We're live, but it's got a buzz. It's a nasty buzz. I might try to find another feed.
Who was speaking
really nasty
to the president.
Buzz. Let me try to find a better feed. Face the Nation. No, they're not showing the press conference. Here it is. Oh. This is from 38 minutes ago. Here it is. Let's see if this is better. Started 3 minutes ago. We're just going live in time for the press conference. Apparently they've been killed. That was a question.
That this case will have her off.
All right, we're going to rewind.
To those brave warriors.
Hegseth already said something. I'm on Barry Cunningham's channel. Okay. Well.
Because this is a matter of national security, because this is a matter of
cash.
pride. President Trump has been informed. We've been in contact with the White House. We will shortchange the American public with no resources to make sure we find and safeguard our nation's capital right here in Washington, D.C., and bring anyone responsible for this heinous act of violence to justice. I would lastly like to add to the American public and the world, please send your prayers to those brave warriors who are in critical condition and their families. They are here serving our country. They are here protecting everyday Americans and citizens around the world in our nation's capital. They are the heroes of this day, and we must remember them on this day and every day, and their families and the sacrifice they have made. I will now turn it over to Chief Carroll of the Metropolitan Police Department. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff Carroll. I'm the Executive Assistant Chief here at the Metropolitan Police Department. At approximately 2:15 this afternoon, members of the D.C. National Guard were on high visibility patrols in the area of 17th and I Street Northwest when a suspect came around the corner, raised his arm with a firearm, and discharged it at the National Guard members. The National Guard members, there were other members that were in the area. They were able to, after some back and forth, able to subdue the individual and bring him into custody. Within moments, members of law enforcement in the area were also able to assist and bring that individual into custody. At this time, as the director mentioned, the National Guard members are being treated at a local hospital. DC Fire and EMS responded to the scene to provide first aid for those individuals and transport them to a local hospital. The suspect in this case was also transported for treatment at a local hospital. Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of Washington, D.C., and I, too, want to send my thoughts and prayers to the families of the guardsmen and to the guardsmen who are in critical condition in a local hospital. I am
well, that's
joined
different.
by members and
it says they're
leadership
dead
from the
on
D.C.
X.
National Guard, from the West Virginia National Guard, United States Secret Service, Deputy Mayor Pia, Fire Chief Donnelly, and Metro's General Manager Randy Clark. And we join with the FBI Director in ensuring that MPD investigates, the U.S. Attorney prosecutes this case to the fullest extent of the law. I've had the opportunity to brief U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who was speaking to the president when I called, as well as the United States Attorney Pirro, who assured me that this case
I have somebody else's
will have
chat
her office's complete attention.
on my screen. That's not our chat. I'm tuned into another live streamer to get a good copy of this stream. Those are not your chats. They're someone else's. Reports are that they're dead. This person just said they're in critical condition. So,
Chief.
Sure. So no, at this time, there was no indication that there was any other suspect. The one suspect that was involved in this incident, they were shot during the interaction, and they were transported to the hospital for treatment.
Mayor, does this validate the need for the National Guard here in D.C.?
What we know, Andrea, is that this is a targeted shooting. One individual who appeared to target these guardsmen, that individual has been taken into custody.
Mayor, can you tell us any more details on the condition of the two National Guardsmen and whether or not anyone else was injured? And a quick question follow-up for the FBI Director. You said that we'll make sure we find the perpetrators for this act. So just to clarify, the person believed to be responsible is in custody and there are no other suspects.
Sure. So I can start out again. Chief Carroll from MPD. So both the individuals, the guard members, they are in critical condition in a local hospital at this time, being treated. At this point, we have.
I gotta get off this stream because I'm on somebody else, some other live streamer stream. I gotta get like an official. We're having somebody else's. I know all the live streamers are doing this. Here's some other. No. AP isn't on it. Looks like the press conference is actually over. So I'll try to get you to that part in the press conference. People must be playing it in not real time. I'll find it for you guys, I think. Press conference must be over. Let's see if this is a decent copy. There's Cash. Okay.
Thoughts and prayers to the family.
Oh, can't hear it.
Of the guardsmen and to the guardsmen who are in critical condition.
All right. Well, it might not be that they said something super important, but let's see if this is better. No, that's somebody else from 11 years ago. The AI needs to improve a little bit. I need to get good. I need to get better coverage. This is probably good. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the delay. I had to go live quickly. JD Vance was doing something. I don't know what's real. Well, that's the news. People shot. 2 National Guardsmen killed in an ambush. they're already talking about bringing 500 more National Guard troops to DC. They just reported in that press conference. Well, see, everything says shot and killed. So let's go to X, see what's going on. Welcome to the show. I have other news too, actually, to share with you today. Happy day before Thanksgiving. Good to be with you. A little earlier than usual. Just had to jump on. This seems like it'll be big news. Donald Trump says the animal who shot the 2 National Guardsmen, both being critically wounded and now in 2 separate hospitals, is also severely wounded, but regardless will pay a very steep price. God bless our great National Guard and all of our military and law enforcement. These are truly great people. I, as President of the United States, and everyone associated with the office of the presidency, am with you. I see what people are saying on my chat. I'll put it on the screen. Could it be this person is using the initials FF? I believe that means what I think it means. Those were things you couldn't use in a title before. Could it be what those 2 commenters just said? Good question. Be an interesting thing to do. Will it turn people back toward supporting Republicans? Everybody's blaming the Democrats. People are blaming the seditious 6. I see that on Twitter. And we'll look at what the comments are under the White House. CNN just a few weeks ago compared the National Guard to Nazis. Okay, I'll listen to that.
Actually, what the president is doing through the Secretary of Defense is creating units, official military units, to, quite frankly, watch the American people. And that's the thing that is absolutely abhorrent. It reminds me so much of what happened in Germany in the 1930s. Actually, what the president is doing.
Comparing them to Nazis, I understand. Germany in the 1930s. Well, it's bad news. As far as blaming the seditious 6, I don't see the direct connection, but many people are saying that. The seditious 6 being the Democrats that said not to follow illegal orders, which for that, Donald Trump said they should be killed, actually, and then kind of took it back. But he did say they should be killed for saying that, which seems to be a rhetorical problem as well. So even if the left did something, Donald Trump, theoretically, if something happened to any of those Democrats, then people could easily blame Trump. The stream we were watching said Democrats are blaming Trump. Well, that doesn't really work either. National Guard can't do anything but stand guard anyway. They're not allowed to do law enforcement. Zero days without Democrats killing people. Well, it's more left. We assume it's left-wing violence. Libs of TikTok is posting a lot about it. So we're trying to turn it into a left-right issue, which I don't think I'm going to try to do. It's somebody did it. We don't know why. But yeah, we can probably assume it was somebody left-wing, probably. Somebody who doesn't like Trump, I guess, probably. But we don't know for sure. And trying to turn it into a left-right thing immediately seems to risk more violence, possibly, against the left. And we don't want it to escalate. At least I don't want it to. Some people might. Tim Pool talks about civil war all the time. Or he used to. Said we're headed there undeniably. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. We've had a lot of things happen and not fallen into a civil war yet. But I put it in the title anyway, just to get the clicks.
Look at these videos coming out of places like Chicago. It makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is a very, very stressful situation for these law enforcement and for the communities on the ground. So it was basically a warning to say, like, if you're asked to do something, particularly against American citizens, look at these videos coming out of place.
Let me get Hegseth's statement. It was very interesting. Hegseth's statement devolved into talking about Venezuela because somebody started yelling at him, Venezuela, Venezuela. Let's see if we have any more updates from here. We are praying. Well, certainly our prayers are with people who get killed for no reason, especially National Guards members who signed up to serve our country and we assume did it out of goodwill for Americans. They were from West Virginia. They are either dead or in critical condition. I can't confirm. We'll know more by the time this podcast is posted, probably. I've already heard it said that in response, they're going to send in even more National Guard, which is an interesting response. 500 more is what I heard. Let's see what Hegseth said. Here's his statement. Okay. He's the one who said they're going to send 500 more. Here's Hegseth, the Secretary of War.
Very productive meetings, but I want to start by saying after those meetings, myself and my team were notified that 2 National Guardsmen have been shot in Washington, D.C., critically wounded. The shooter shot in a cowardly, dastardly act targeting the best of America, heroes willing to serve in Washington, D.C., serve for people they don't know and they've never met because they love their country and their capital and their community. They were willing to do dangerous things others were not because they love their fellow Americans. Someone decided to turn that into targeting National Guardsmen. That will only stiffen our resolve. We will never back down. We will secure our capital. We will secure our cities. In fact, this happened just steps away from the White House. It will not stand. And that's why President Trump has asked me, and I will ask the Secretary of the Army to the National Guard, to add 500 additional troops, National Guardsmen, to Washington, D.C. This will only stiffen our resolve to ensure that we make Washington, D.C. safe and beautiful. The drop in crime has been historic. The increase in safety and security has been historic. But if criminals want to conduct things like this, violence against America's best, we will never back down. President Trump will never back down. That's why the American people elected him. America and our warriors, our National Guardsmen, are strong. And so we're following this very closely. We're getting information rapidly. I mentioned the faith of this country, the Christian faith, the prayers. I would ask for prayers for our National Guardsmen.
Excuse me, Mr. P.
Appeals to heaven for our National Guardsmen, for their families, on bended knee as a War Department, as a nation.
Excuse me.
We will never back down.
Excuse
Don't think about them right now.
Venezuela.
We had a couple of great, productive meetings with the President and Minister of Defense here, where we are dedicated to the counter-cartel effort here. Criminality knows no boundaries, whether it's the United States of America and Washington, D.C., or it's the Caribbean and the Western Hemisphere. We are going to go after narco terrorists. It will not stand. Our borders will be secure, whether it's the Dominican Republic or the United States of America, and we look forward to working with our partners to make it happen. You know, President Trump believes in a clear principle: peace through strength. You get peace by being strong. And if you're a narco terrorist who wants to bring drugs to the United States of America, we will find you, we will fix you, and we will finish you. because we have all the rights in the world. We've got lots of attorneys and lots of intel analysts. We know exactly who we're targeting and why. If you're involved in that conduct, we will kill you. It's that deadly serious because of the poison that has made its way into the American public for far too long. President Trump is serious about it. We're serious about it. And we're proud to be working with the Dominican Republic, another country very serious about ensuring that cartels don't set the agenda. We do. Thank you very much. It's been a great series.
Weird transition, right? Where did he transition? I guess it's because that lady was like, hey, Venezuela. Then he changed the topic entirely. It was like, we have lots of lawyers telling us that what we're doing is legal. But actually, I believe international criminal courts have determined that it's murder. And actually, I don't see how it can be thought of any other way. They're not people that are directly, they're not soldiers coming here to kill us. And the drugs may or may not be on their way to America. And either way, it's not the drugs that are killing Americans, really. It's if it is drugs at all, for which they've shown no evidence. So going back to Venezuela, they say they know exactly what's on those boats. They know exactly who they are, and they're narco terrorists, but they don't have fentanyl. We know that. They maybe have cocaine, maybe. It might be coming to America, might be going to Europe. And we blow up the boats. We don't collect evidence. There's no trial. And we're just killing people. Apparently to destabilize Venezuela, I guess. I can't really justify it. But that's what's going on in Venezuela. International courts have determined that it actually is murder, which I don't see how any other way than it is. They're not showing the Congress the evidence that there's drugs. They say they have it, but until they show it to us, I don't. And even if it is, what did we do with people that traffic drugs? We arrest them, collect evidence, and then try them in court. So it was a weird transition in that speech. So anyway, not cool that they kill people. I see people talking in the chat. We can theorize, I think. Don't know what the modern rules here on your YouTube, but the rules used to, maybe I can show the comments. Some people are saying it's a false flag. I guess I can say those words. We can talk about the theory for why that might be the case. I used to cover things that there were a number of ISIS terrorist attacks back in the day, which weren't 100% believable, in my opinion. And actually, there were even articles written about it. There were ISIS beheadings and so forth that were clearly Hollywood productions. Multiple takes, for example, for somebody getting their head taken off. And they even, wrote about it in mainstream media that they used multiple takes and very expensive editing equipment and so forth. And then they never show the actual act. That's ISIS, which we tried to make people scared of to justify what we were doing in the Middle East, I believe. But those kind of stopped. The terrorist attacks from ISIS basically kind of stopped around the time Trump got elected, actually. And actually, there were specific rules as, question everything twice. Does it even made The Guardian, that green screen beheading stuff? Yeah, and then they had that British guy. They called him Jihadi John or something like that. They were in some kind of weird desert background and speaking English, and they were all white. All these ISIS soldiers, supposedly. Yeah, that didn't seem quite realistic to me at the time. So I might have talked about some of those things. In this case, and these days, I believe things a little bit more. Mostly because everybody has cell phones and everybody's a conspiracy theorist deep inside. So if they did something that wasn't real, well, we can try. I don't think there's any video out yet of, apparently there's a picture floating around of one of the service members on the ground, maybe appearing to have been shot in the head. Apparently one of them was shot in the head. I think it's totally possible that somebody did that. We are in an atmosphere where there's a lot of negativity towards National Guardsmen and military being in cities, and then the whole ICE and Border Patrol thing. So I can imagine somebody getting wound up enough based on what they're seeing in the news to do something like this. So I'm not going to say that necessarily it's manufactured, but we can imagine maybe why it would be to just bring in more soldiers and ramp it up even further. They're not allowed to do anything, the National Guard. They're basically just there for show. Apparently it brings down crime. Apparently it brings down crime having them there, but they're not allowed to arrest people. They're not allowed to shoot people the way police are. They're not allowed to do any law enforcement activities, basically by the Constitution. So, but if it brings down crime, crime is bad. There's a lot of news about crime today. There's news about incarcerating people being racist from Chicago. There's people talking about how all of the crime, or a large percentage of violent crime, is committed by a very small percentage of the population. And all of us have to be treated like criminals because of just a few people that could be locked up, which I assume are from a particular demographic in many cases. A lot of people have been talking about that. So that's in the news. We don't know anything about this shooter. I'll try to do a little more research. I mean, I can try to follow it here, and I'll get into the rest of the news. But is in the sense that we assume that it's a real event, which I will for now, for sure. It's not cool. It's not good for our country. And I don't think it's particularly valuable blaming Democrats for it either, because that would just kind of raise the tension. Although, I mean, on the other hand, I can see how Democrats have raised the tension. It's just blaming speech for action is one of those things that kind of gets speech canceled. So the rules on YouTube in particular were that you could not deny a violent event took place. It was like a SH rule. They were not allowed to say that a violent event that was widely reported didn't happen, or that people who died didn't die. It's like a rule on YouTube. So we'll try to stick to that. And anyway, that's not even what I think at this point. So there you go. That's the news. That's the big breaking news. And I'll get into the rest of the news for the day. Thanks for joining me. We have some other stuff in the news today. Some news about AI. Some news about the economy. I wonder if I can play this. Some news about universal basic income. I was listening to a podcast today. So we're going to cover that. We have Zelensky caught on camera. Oh, we might have a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. So I'll cover that as well. And Zelensky caught on camera with apparently cocaine falling out of his nose. So the thing about cocaine, if that's what we're blowing people up for, is actually it doesn't kill that many people. And it does come from a somewhat natural source. And actually, Miami was built on cocaine money. And people like Miami. kind of. So I don't know if I'm opposed necessarily. It does make people addicted, but a lot of things are legal that aren't good for you, like alcohol and cannabis. I'll show you some economic news. I'll show you some news about Candace Owens, that Project Veritas broke, that she was being blackmailed, or they were trying to blackmail her. Have some clips from Nick, some clips from Tucker. Talk a little bit more about the Candace. Oh, and Marjorie Taylor Greene was going to probably lead with that. Marjorie Taylor Greene is having a meltdown on Twitter and blaming men, which people don't like. So I'll show you that. Interesting news. It seemed like people would tune in for the breaking news, but maybe we're not a breaking news channel. Thanks for the people that are here. Well, it is a holiday almost. So maybe people are doing stuff with their families. Sean says cocaine is made using kerosene. Yeah, that's true. But it's still made kind of from cocoa leaves. Better if you just chew them. Yeah, that should be legal. I think it used to be in Coca-Cola, right? Some of the cocoa leaves. That should be legal. Didn't Elon say that? Put cocaine back in Coca-Cola. I don't see anything wrong with that. People chew on the coca leaves. They have like medicinal effects for people who live at altitude, at least. Bring back good cocaine. Let's say that. No, we don't want to do that. We are drug free on this channel, actually, and alcohol free. Not bragging, just the truth. We are drug free and alcohol free on this channel. Thanks to Kitchen Stadium. Thanks. Yeah, they gave me my channel back. You can review some of the old videos too. Bitcoin's back today. Bitcoin's back up. I sold a lot. And I'm going to have to pay taxes on it too, which is really unfortunate. But it's back up to where I sold some, actually. 90,000 and some. We're headed, there's just lots of news about employment being a problem. So I'm curious. I'm kind of bearish on everything. The economy, stocks, but stocks are back up. Apparently the S&P is like 1% from all-time highs. So people still are buying stocks. They're still buying into the AI story. Apparently the White House, it has just said they're going to do like a Manhattan Project with AI. So everybody's going all in on that technology, and we can talk more about AI. We will. The news I was going to report is that there's a number one, and maybe I can play it. Somebody posted a clip of it on Twitter. There's a chart-topping AI artist now, I believe for the first time. So, and I have Elon Musk's baby mama talking about how AI is replacing artists. We talk a lot about how it's replacing workers, but Grimes is talking about how it's replacing artists, which actually based on this AI music trend, I can see why. I'm thinking about trying to make AI music myself. Don't know. I guess we could all do that. But there is a chart-topping AI artist in Christian and gospel music. And there's a lot of controversy around it with Christians because it has no soul. And therefore, Christians shouldn't listen to it. There's Christian backlash against AI. And actually, it's being led by Steve Bannon, who is having somebody go around to churches and convince Christians that AI is bad. So we'll talk about all that on the show. I'll play my intro. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yes, lots of people responding to the AI topic, so we can get into that right away. We'll try to keep it free-flowing today. We don't have that many people tuned in. We're not going to be desperate for views. We work with the AI to generate the best. I work with the AI quite a bit with Gemini. That's my friend right now. I talk to it every day now. I have it help me with my YouTube production as far as like titles, descriptions, and thumbnails. It is lacking in many departments. It can't do very simple things for some reason. But the story with AI right now is that Google is taking the lead and OpenAI is maybe in trouble, particularly OpenAI, but also NVIDIA, because Google makes its own chips now that it runs their software on. People really like Gemini. I'm using it. I don't pay for any of it. I've never hit a daily limit like I have on ChatGPT. It makes very good art for my thumbnails, but way better than the other services, it seems like, but it can't seem to do it can't do a simple thing like aspect ratio. And it just apologizes, but it can't do it first. It makes no sense to me why. So it still can't do very simple things for some reason, even when you argue with it. But it's helpful. It's taking away jobs for sure. I mean, I can just tell you that. Like, I used to help people with cryptocurrency and tell people, yeah, you can figure this out on your own by Google searching or playing around on the internet and stuff. But for things like being a consultant, especially, I would just help people out with like things that are a little harder to do with crypto. I kind of had expertise with cryptocurrency. I could charge like $100 an hour, which is actually pretty cheap for people who do that kind of thing. And there's nothing I could tell anybody that Gemini couldn't tell you, or ChatGPT probably. So actually it's kind of, I didn't do it that much, but actually there was a time when people were buying this really obscure cryptocurrency. I would do like many consultations in a day to tell people how to do it because it was difficult. Those kind of things. Now you can just ask the machine. And as far as like Fiverr goes, I assume that's almost dead. The kind of freelance work where you'd hire somebody in India to make graphics for you or something, just have the machines do it. And pretty much they'll do it for free. And right now they're charging, but their costs go down all the time. So eventually it's going to be free. Mostly. So, and I would have to hire a human, and it allows me to do my show too. Software, which is kind of AI. But the fact that you can do something like this or without a team is kind of because of the advance of technology. I use advanced technology for my stream, which apparently makes it look better and stuff. I use Apple products, which coordinate with each other, so I can use my phone as a camera. And then I've just recently started using an advanced AI software to create YouTube shorts, which is pretty impressive. But it isn't cheap. It's probably going to be my main expense going forward is long as I keep using it. So if you want to support the production for the show, if you enjoy the show, we are not AI yet, but I can be replaced. Maybe not today, but maybe today. I believe I have a relatively simple workflow. And I was listening to somebody talking about it today, how workers who go on Zoom calls can probably be replaced very soon by a virtual worker who looks just like them and talks just like them and never sleeps and never eats and never poops. And I think I could probably be too, based on the information that YouTube has on me because of the YouTube videos I've created in the past. And unlike me, my synthetic self would probably be better at things like going viral and stuff and saying the right things to get more viewers. The downside of that is perhaps that people might like this show because we're not just trying to jump on the latest trend, which AI incentivized to get more viewers and more money would probably do in my place. But I have one of the jobs that well, if you can call it that. You have to donate to the show or buy t-shirts for it to be a job. Truthclothing.io. We're having a big sale. I'll show you that. We have to promote our store. And maybe you can convince me to keep it open. We're thinking about closing down the business. It costs me more this year to run the shop and keep the site up than I make. So we're trying to sell out everything. And then I have to pay taxes, regardless of how much money the business makes, every year in California, just to keep it as a business. So we are in a closeout sale, which is a great deal for you. $5 and $10 t-shirts, which would cost more than that to produce. Even just buying the stock t-shirts blank would probably cost more than that today. The fact is, we bought most of it 5 years ago. It's still fresh in the original packaging. And we have great designs. The Question Everything design was one of our most popular designs. It sold for $30 pretty regularly. It is now on sale for $10. And several styles are already sold out. Your size may be sold out in several styles. We have men's and women's designs for $10 for all of those. And then we have certain styles for $5, including what somebody's talking about in the chat. These pirate chain are t-shirts for $5. And believe me, it's a super high quality. We didn't do it the way everybody else does it with like drop shipping from wherever and digitally printed. These are actually screen printed, so it doesn't fade. And we chose the very high quality t-shirts, which last a long time. And we even have a Bitcoin sweatshirt for $20, which is a great deal. So Bitcoin, like I said, was up today. I have FOMO a little bit. I don't know which way it's going to go. I'm worried about going into a depression. And I kind of feel like everything's going to go down at one point, and then I want to buy back in when that happens. But I still believe in the future of Bitcoin. So we have crypto future shirts, HODL Litecoin shirts, which are $5. Best deal we have. You can buy them in bulk, and some other shirts. Bitcoin Save shirts are $5. So pick them up. Just sleep in them if you don't want to do anything else with them. But be a part of the revolution, support the show. And then if we get enough viewers and enough business, maybe we'll keep the store open and order new designs and sell them for full price. We'll talk a little more about AI here today. I wonder if I can play this. Do you guys think I can play this without getting a copyright? I'm not monetized anyway. So usually what they do is just say you can't monetize. So maybe I will play you a little of this song. I listened to it. It's really good to my ear. Now, I'm into music. It's really good. Their voice, and Joe Rogan has said it too. He says favorite music is AI music, mostly remakes of human music, like 50 Cent remakes and soul versions and so forth that you're seeing on YouTube. But now people are doing fully original AI music with the help of 2 or 3 different virtual assistants. There's something called, it's not Sora. This post doesn't say what it was, but I looked it up. Using a combination of 3 different machines, 3 different AIs. I believe it's ChatGPT, this music making AI, and then another AI for the visuals to create a totally virtual person. The Kitchen Stadium says, is the US power grid capable of handling all the power consumption? No, not at this time. No, they want more power than we can possibly have. Apparently, they kind of want infinity power to do as much as they want. And actually, people are upset at AI companies for making these AI data centers that consume our things like power and water particular. So AI data centers are responsible for electricity rates and water rates going up in the neighborhoods where they're built. And we just saw the latest Fishback, the latest gubernatorial candidate in Florida, saying he's not going to allow data centers. So many people locally are already objecting. And as far as universal basic income goes, or socialism, communism, whatever we're moving into, I believe the first step of that will probably be AI corporations that want to build data centers subsidizing electricity and water prices for local residents, so that they are allowed to build the data centers they need to continue the growth of this particular technology. Dan Whiffen says Suno. Yes, I believe that's the application, Suno. And apparently there's one person, a black guy, I think, who's a rapper. I looked into it. So he's already a musical artist of some sort on his own, creating this synthetic character, this picture you're seeing right in front of you here, called Solomon Ray, who is now a chart-topping musical artist. So I think this actually is a very significant marker for where the future is going, which is anti-human in many ways. Although, in as much as good entertainment and good music is pro-human, the emotional response is the same, for me at least. Listening to good music, when I'm listening to it, I don't care that it's not a human if it's good. And when I was using AI to make digital art, I didn't care either that it wasn't human. It just was the emotional response I was interested in. And I would have an emotional response to certain images created by machines, AI. So, but there's a big argument amongst Christians. It's very interesting that it's Christian and gospel music. So you can listen for yourself to this guy, Solomon Ray. I'll play it. I'll just go ahead and take the risk. I know people don't ever play music, but I'm not monetized. So if the worst they can do is demonetize me, then it doesn't matter. Or they can run ads and pay this human, who I assume gets all of the proceeds from this and simply has to pay a very low relative cost to work with these different AI machines to create this. So I'll play it. I haven't listened to this. His big song, if you want to look it up, very interesting. I was using Gemini, and Gemini links automatically to external apps. So I told it I wanted to listen to some AI music to see how good it was. and it automatically connected me to Spotify, and it would have connected me to YouTube Music too. So these apps are already becoming integrated where you don't even have to leave the AI. But I asked it about other musical artists who are also charting. None of them are number one. This guy's number one on the charts. And it's better than Taylor Swift, who's human, in my opinion. Here you go. Let's listen together. Let's see.
They say, boy, that ain't real sin. Just a fancy way to cheat. But they don't know for what I prayed all my heart off in this beat. See, the gift was always in me, but a band I can't afford. God just opened up another door for my song to strike a chord. Now I've got a tool. God let me use. Now I'm told I have no soul since I done broken all the rules. My God gets the glory. And when all creation sings, yes, he does. If rocks can cry out to praise your name, then you can use anything. Oh, boy.
Number one album.
Oh, and here's somebody talking about it. Let's hear what he has to say. That's not his most popular song. I would recommend you listen to the number one song. Let me see if I have that listed here. I don't seem to have it in my chat history. I'd recommend you here. What is, let me ask so I can tell you what to listen to. You can listen to it on iTunes or Spotify. That's a song about being AI. So that was a song specifically about the controversy. The guy basically says, he's like, hey, you say it has no soul, but I'm the creator behind it, loves God, apparently. And there were also arguments in the churches when they brought in organs and guitars. And now you go to church. I went to I think it was probably a Baptist church for a second one day, and they had a very modern rock band basically on stage. I mean, that was the show. So a very modern rock band. It was pretty good. And AI is no good for live music unless humans start recreating the AI songs. But here, let me just ask what the Solomon, what I say his name is? Solomon Ray. Somebody says those are both sun worshiping names. The chart-topping song is called Find Your Rest. And I also listened to another one called, I believe it's called Jesus and Coffee, which was pretty good. So to my ear, it's pretty good. Same thing. I mean, Joe Rogan says his favorite music, which is problematic because I'd rather, but as long as there are human creators behind it who are creative, and I assume they help write the songs, I assume. But let's see what this guy says about it.
Right now for Christian music on iTunes, and the number 2 top singles over Elevation, Brandon Lake, whoever, is AI. And I hate to even bring attention to this, but I want to just let you guys know this is out there. And I think it's important that we just pause a little bit and kind of ask the questions of like, is this something that we want? At minimum, AI does not have the Holy Spirit inside of it. So I think that's really weird to be opening up your spirit to something that has no spirit. So what are we doing about this? Are we rejecting this? Are we championing this? I personally will not be listening to this. I already don't listen to secular music, and I'm sure not going to be listening to AI Christian music. God bless you guys, and yeah, just want to bring that to your attention.
So they claim it cannot have the Holy Spirit. Well, can the Holy Spirit infiltrate the machine? That's a good question too. How do we know the Holy Spirit doesn't work with technology? How do we know? Many inventors who invented technology in the past were inspired by dreams to build technology, like Tesla, for example, who apparently got the diagrams for how to make an alternating current device through the ether. How do these AI get inspired? And if the creator behind it, the human being who's prompting it, does have the Holy Spirit inside of him, allegedly, then does the Holy Spirit transfer to the actual music? And if it's good gospel music, so this is what people are saying. And I'll play you what Grimes had to say about it too. So it just makes things cheaper. That's all. In the end, just makes things cheaper for me, for my production. I have to pay approximately $5 or $6 per video. That's why it'd be nice if somebody gave me like a coffee or two every show. But I have to pay about $5 or $6 to the technology to create about 40 different YouTube shorts, of which I might use one. But if I had to have a human being do that, or if I used my time to do that, it can do it in about 20 minutes. A full 2-hour video. The machine I'm using, which is called Opus Clip, which from what I understand is the best technology for what I'm using it for, will take a 2-hour video and turn it into what it thinks are viral YouTube shorts. It'll give me a score. It'll tell me if something is trending. And then I play them and see if they're any good. But like my last couple shows, I just chose one. But it'll give me like 30 or 40 shorts, rank them based on virality, theoretically. And it's $5 or $6 a show. If I had to hire a human, it would be, or if I'd use my time, just my time, it would take more time than I have, which is why I never made YouTube shorts before. It takes less time than it takes to watch a whole one of my videos, to watch the whole video and clip out and edit a bunch of YouTube shorts. Less time that it would take somebody just to watch the whole thing. It can go through the whole thing and crop, edit 40, let's say, in a 2-hour show, YouTube shorts from that for about $5 or $6, which for a human to do, which would be hundreds, I believe, which is great for me as a content creator, but not so great for Hollywood and all of the people who do production and so forth on these various shows. Not so great for somebody like probably Alex Stein, who no longer has a show, as far as I can tell, at Blaze. Like Alex Stein's show ended at Blaze. I heard he was fired, but I can't get that confirmed. But he was very expensive. And then I'm sure the production was very expensive. And Nick Fuentes doesn't even really do anything except do a live stream from his house by himself, which was not possible in the past. And it's basically because of the advance of technology. Live streaming was not a thing. Didn't become a mainstream thing until after 2015, 2016, when I started doing it. When it started, you had to be very technically proficient. You had to use software that was like OBS, which was very difficult to set up. But now it's easy for a relatively low price. So It's good if you want to be a one-man band or a one-man show. And if anybody wanted my help, I can certainly consult with you. If you want to consult with me about anything like that, just text me. I'll tell you how to do stuff. But I don't think the problem is not everybody's cut out for it. That's all. Some people are behind the scenes people. Some people are grunt work people. Some people are laborers. Some people just like to analyze and work behind the scenes and stuff. Some people don't have talent, whatever that is, but they're willing to work hard. But the AI can kind of do it better, unfortunately. ICTS22, since you're asking about t-shirts, I better answer. There's a Litecoin shirt. It says HODL on it. So I'll guide you since you're trying to buy something from me. I appreciate it. So I'm here at truthclothing.io. I'll go to the main site. So this is where you land on the main site. And I believe you can either go to crypto shop or main shop. Since you're looking for a Litecoin shirt, I guess go to crypto shop right here. And then these are the Litecoin tees. HODL, LTC, this one right here. Really cool design, $5. Or the semi-long sleeve one. So it was pretty simple. Just go to crypto shop. HODL LTC. And it's got the Litecoin logo and like a sun behind it. I used to be really into Litecoin. I still believe in the technology. It's just, I think Bitcoin's probably the only safe thing to get. Everything else doesn't keep going higher. It seems to just go down and then go back up to where it was before. Like even Ethereum hasn't really gone higher to its all-time high and above the way Bitcoin seems to continue to. Probably the only real money is Bitcoin, probably, which is why we have mostly Bitcoin shirts. Thank you. Thank you. If you want to buy it, I love you. Thanks for supporting the show. We appreciate it. All right, let's show you what Grimes had to say about AI.
Yeah. Overall, I think there's quite a bit of abdication of responsibility around like what are we going to do as people's jobs start being taken fairly aggressively. Luckily, there's a massive population drop coming, so maybe everything is just fate and it's going to work out okay. But I feel like we might get like very, very, very good AI across every pillar of art before there aren't any more people to make art.
So you wrote, we appreciate.
Oh, there you go. That's what Grimes had to say. Grimes originally was offering people to use her voice, an AI generated version of her voice, and split the commission with anybody who wanted to use her voice for AI music and make their own music with her voice. And actually, I was trying to do the same thing. And probably the technology has developed to a point where I can. I have tinkered with this in the past. Starting in 2013, I made audiobooks, or I made at least one audiobook that was fully synthetic. That was all my AI generated voice, and it sounded pretty good. So I've considered the idea in the past. So and they do that. There are certain apps that do that, like you can get Snoop Dogg reading the Bible, which isn't really him. I've heard Hollywood is down 40% already as far as production of new shows. There's already a synthetic actress being pitched to agencies. There's already a like totally artificial person that they're trying to sell as the next Scarlett Johansson. I could show you her since we're talking about it. Let's see, AI actress. We'll just search for that. But we're already seeing a reduction. I was an actor before I was a car salesman, before I was a podcaster. I did work on a few movies and TV shows, very small parts. But I quit because I found it kind of to be a dehumanizing profession, actually. Where is, they don't show her. It's not coming up with the particular one. There's a particular AI actress being pitched as a real movie star at this time to replace human beings. I believe Bruce Willis already sold his digital rights so that he can appear in movies again. And I already told you that the commercials for Coca-Cola were generated by AI this year. The cute polar bear commercials were generated by AI, and they were pretty good. There's a new progressive. Oh, there's also AI of Vivek Ramaswamy, put out by Democrats and not labeled as AI. So I'll show you that. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, oh, I see. It's, well, you have Tim Pool saying it's fake AI, but actually it is not AI. Since I'm on it, I'll play you the video. Apparently he just cut it out of his other video. Interesting. See, this is the age we're going into where we're not going to be able to tell the difference. I just believed it was AI because that's what people were saying. But apparently it's real. So I'll play it for you just because we're talking about it now. It's about how to save money, which we've been talking about a lot on this show.
All right, Republicans, you want to get serious about winning in 2026? Here's how we do it. Let's offer solutions that bring down costs now, not in the distant future, but in the present. Bring down those electric bills by requiring AI data centers to pay for their own energy. Bring down housing costs by ending land use restrictions that stop new home construction. And you know what? Slash property taxes while we're at it. Let's make healthcare affordable by topping up health savings accounts. More on that soon. I'm a dad. Make parenting more affordable by making school year round and going till 4 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock so you don't have to pay for childcare. Bring down electric bills, bring down housing costs, make healthcare more affordable, and make parenting a reality. That's how we win this thing.
So the part they said was fake. That was from the full video. Half of which I played you most of it. I think it was yesterday about bringing down costs. The thing he cut out, which I guess because Democrats supported, I'm not sure why he cut it out. But Tim Pool made a video about it, as you can see right here. A Democrat candidate circulated a fake AI video of Vivek Ramaswamy promoting something he never said. And that thing he never said was about school being year round and going till 4 p.m. So we talked yesterday about how the cost of childcare is one of the expenses breaking people's bank, which is, again, why Mom Donnie is talking about making it free. But apparently he really did say that, so it's not AI generated. What do I have in other AI news? I listened to a podcast today saying we have 900 days to figure out what to do about AI taking everybody's job, because it's going to be really good, like starting next year, and start displacing people. And the title of the video, I believe, is that AI will destroy capitalism, which I'm extremely concerned about, because capitalism is like a human, it's almost like we're wired to participate in capitalism. Like, capitalism is how things happen. That's how prices get discovered. That's how people decide to do things. That's why people decide to work, is because they have to, because they're broke and hungry. Accumulating goods is something people do to maybe find a mate and have children. Like it's like a biological impulse to participate in capitalism. And it helps make people rich in the cases where it used to exist. Like when we were doing well, we had real money and real capitalism. A lot of people might have been really rich, and we do have to regulate industry to not create monopolies, which ends up being the result of unrestrained capitalism. And actually, it's pretty unrestrained right now. And AI corporations are set to basically take over the world and take over the government too, which I guess would be fascism. Techno-fascism, you could call it, is maybe what we're headed towards. So, which would be like the state and business being combined. Well, if the corporations make the machines that run the government, which is what everybody's talking about, they say it'll be better, then it's basically a form, and education on top of that. So fascism is where all of your institutions are run by the same entity. Like Nazism, the government, the schools, the businesses were all controlled by Nazis, basically. So it was fascist. So we're talking about going into a techno-fascist future run by corporations. And it might end up being fewer than we have now. Right now there's competition, but OpenAI might just get eaten. Could be Google dominates based on their progress and their money stack. We'll see. Hopefully there's competition. But if we're worried about fascism, it is kind of, in my mind, a form of fascism that we're headed towards. So, Not Me says, government subsidized AI companies is not capitalism. Yes, so far, they're not government subsidized. But this is what AOC is warning about, and Bernie Sanders a little bit too, is that we're going to bail them out. And David Sachs kind of implicated that maybe we will. Like he said, we can't afford to go backward on AI. We can afford it if that's what happens. But so far, it's private money, pretty much, and private innovation, private investment that's driving AI. So far, you can't argue too much that it's government supported. But we may be moving into a phase where it's government supported, i.e. too big to fail, which is what Sam Altman said. He thinks his company is too big to fail already. So that's where it becomes problematic, for sure. Thanks, Not Me. Not Me says peak capitalism is late 19th century American up until Woodrow Wilson. So, yeah. Yeah, it should lift everybody up. Good capitalism. And kind of the Scottish Enlightenment, Adam Smith, free markets, real money, and not fake debt. I mean, we have zombie companies that shouldn't exist because of fake debt or real debt, however you want to look at it. But we have a messed up system that should be capitalist, but isn't, because corporations are kept alive by government printing because they consider them too big to fail. Like what happened during COVID, when a bunch of people would have went out of business, but were bailed out by the government. Which you can argue whether it was good or bad, because COVID wasn't capitalist either, because the government forced people to close their businesses. So in a sense, it wouldn't have been their fault, and maybe they shouldn't have gone out of business, many of them. But in the case where many banks, like during the financial crisis, Banks were bailed out when they should have probably closed their doors. All right, here's an MIT study that says AI can already replace nearly 12% of the US workforce. So I'll play that.
MIT just out with a new study about AI and productivity and just how many jobs could be at risk. Mackenzie Sagalis joins us with that story. Market pays attention to these MIT studies on AI.
Yeah, that last one on 95% of enterprise adoptions of AI not working out. Now MIT has built agent clones of 151 million working Americans, essentially software counterparts to real people, in order to identify which jobs are most at risk years before layoffs hit. Now, it's called the Iceberg Index, and it uses these agents to map more than 32,000 skills across 923 occupations in 3,000 counties, revealing exposure to AI displacement in every state, not just coastal cities. The report shows that while only 2% of AI-driven wage disruption is visible in tech hubs today, there's actually a hidden layer of exposure that is 5 times larger than what we see today, cutting across industries and geographies, hence why they call it the Iceberg Index. Now, findings indicate that AI can already take over tasks tied to nearly 12% of the U.S. labor market. That's about $1.2 trillion in wages, especially in careers tied to healthcare, finance, and professional services. For lawmakers preparing billion-dollar reskilling and training investments, the index offers a detailed map of where disruption is forming down to the zip code, and crucially, a way to run what-if scenarios before they commit real money and legislation. You've got states like Tennessee, Utah, and North Carolina, also co-authors on this new report, that are already using Iceberg to test everything from new training programs to skills-first hiring rules before they formally commit to policies and spending. Guys?
I'm amazed at this story, Mackenzie, and this money quote that you use, where they argue that we're basically creating a digital twin for the U.S. labor force.
But researchers do stress that this isn't a countdown clock to layoffs. It's more of an early warning map so that policymakers can move money and training around before the shock hits. And so the coolest component of this report is the fact that the Iceberg team has built an interactive simulation environment that allows states to actually experiment with different policy levers, from shifting workforce dollars and tweaking training programs to actually exploring how changes in tech adoption might actually affect local employment and GDP. Tennessee has been the furthest along with this. They've actually built their own AI and work dashboard that tracks occupational exposure and wage effects across the state, and that's helping currently to guide its policy and spending decisions.
All right, well, let's hope Elon Musk is right then, that we won't need money or jobs.
Because work is optional?
Yeah, work is going to be optional.
Like growing vegetables.
Yeah, that would pair nicely with this.
There you go. So capitalism is going to die, which only leaves communism. So here's a very relevant video about tests that have been done of giving people universal income, universal basic income, and seeing what they do. Okay. And all of these techno utopists believe that we're all going to be very happy not having to work because we'll go ahead and do wholesome things like make friends, play pickleball, go on trips, have like fake jobs we do just for fun. Like we'll go to summer camp and labor, not for money, but just because we would just like, even though the machines can do it better, we'll just do it for fun. Like I've seen people literally propose that in the future we'll just do synthetic jobs for fun because, we have nothing to do basically because the machines are going to be doing all of the productive work. Here's somebody talking about why universal basic income fails. So universal basic income is what a lot of people are talking about, or even other far out things like universal high income, which is what Elon Musk talks about. that it won't just be basic like these tests where they give you like $1,000 a month, but it'll be high where you'll be rich, get anything you want. So here's why he says that doesn't work.
Another universal basic income trial has failed, doing exactly what you expect. People quit their job to sit on the couch and collect free money, canceling out the free money. In fact, they got worse. Maybe socialism will work this time. The study was funded by OpenAI's Sam Altman and handed 3,000 people $1,000 a month for 3 years, so $36,000 per person total. The cash was no strings attached. They wanted to see what it did to work, health, parenting, and starting businesses. The idea was to test what UBI advocates claim, which is that free money makes people work harder, stop eating junk food, found startups, and I guess read stories to their kids. Shockingly, that's not how it works. In fact, the free money made it worse. They did not start businesses. They did not lose weight. There was zero impact on health. They claimed better parenting, presumably to please the donors, but in fact, their children experienced worse developmental difficulties and did not get better grades or school attendance. In fact, in Illinois, the grades got worse. The handouts did not even impact food security or likelihood to be homeless. And the reason was simple. They stopped working. Recipients were 50% more likely to be unemployed. This matters because it's well known that unemployment makes people depressed and suicidal, but also because work is how poor people escape poverty. They get experience, build habits like showing up on time and not drunk. They gain on-the-job skills that earn them the raises that get them out of poverty. In other words, free cash does not help the poor. It bribes them to stay poor. These results are consistent with dozens of UBI studies, but they keep trying because buying votes from poor people is the holy grail of the left, since long before AI and robots became the fashionable talking point. The idea is backwards. Being poor is a symptom of bad habits, lack of grit and industry. Giving them free cash makes it worse.
Okay, I agree with him. But in the future, being unemployed may come not due to the fact that you don't want to work. Especially, let's say you're an Uber driver and self-driving taxi cabs, self-driving cars become the dominant form that people take in the future, which I believe will be the case 100%. I think it's completely unavoidable. Elon Musk says it's going to happen. Google's car, the Waymo, is brilliant, never crashes. It seems like people prefer not having a driver in a lot of cases. Although I think in some cases, people will prefer a human driver. People like to talk to their Uber drivers, find out what's going on, especially if they're traveling and stuff, find out what real working people are thinking. So there will still be maybe some place for humans. I've seen some talk about how the Uber driver could just sit there and be a tour guide and still get paid. But either way, it'll be cheaper. The promise is that it'll be cheaper to take the automated cab, which it will be once they scale up. Right now, it's about the same price. But those people, it's not that they don't want to work. That's the problem. It's people are going to lose their jobs this time, not because they're lazy, not because they don't want to do a job, not because they can't show up on time, not because they're getting drunk all the time, but simply because the technology replaces them. So which is why I think it's so troublesome, is because yes, universal basic income makes most people lazy, drunk, drug addicts, suicidal, maybe even homeless. They might get into gambling. I mean, who knows? That's like human nature, it seems like. That if you give people enough money to survive, then they don't want to work. But even the people who want to work and are qualified to work at what are currently human jobs, that this is the problem, is they are going to be displaced through no fault of their own. Even if they're smart, even if they're capable, or simply, even if they're just simply willing to work, which is like what an Uber driver or DoorDash driver is. Somebody who's just simply willing to follow the instructions, do simple tasks, serve other humans, etc. If those people get replaced, what are they going to do? Everything's not going to be totally free, but anyway, so I'll play the rest of the video, but this is the problem we're going into.
Moreover, the concept of UBI presupposes that jobs are a bad thing. In fact, not only do jobs give people a sense of purpose, they are fundamental to our social fabric. Because a job is just shorthand for saying you do nice things for strangers and they do nice things in return. So the girl at 7-Eleven is kind enough to make me a sandwich because I am kind enough to pay her rent. Take away the jobs, and strangers don't do anything for each other. Society becomes atoms bouncing around, or more likely, atoms sleeping on the couch. So as next brought to you by I Trust Capital, the left is desperate for a UBI to convert tens of millions of miserable poor people into even more miserable Democrat voters. They'll get their big chance next recession. Prediction market Kalshi says it's almost certainly coming in the next couple of years. With peak unemployment of 9%, that will be fertile ground for handouts. Instead of warehousing the poor or destroying their jobs that sustain our social fabric, we should be nudging them to get more skills, to do more useful things. So waitress to nurse, lawnmower to welder, couch surfer to personal trainers. Good for them. It's certainly good for the rest of us. And it takes away the left's army of miserable serfs. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
The problem is, it's not the left promoting universal basic income. It's Elon Musk who supported Trump. It's AI corporations who are corporatists, who traditionally support Republicans, who traditionally support big business. It's not just the left talking about universal basic income. It's techno-feudalists talking about universal basic income. We will be their slaves. It's not as simple as a left-right divide. These corporations are just going to have to start shelling out, assuming they still have customers to make money from. The only people making money in the future will be businesses making money from each other if they don't have any humans left doing productive labor. So they say money will be worthless, or we're going to move beyond money. We kind of have to. Which in the end might be okay for whoever's left standing if we can figure out how to do things that way. But it's going to be extremely painful. Many people will die, in my opinion, by taking themselves out, either with drugs, guns, whatever. That's my opinion for what's going to happen. Before we get to utopia, we're going to have tribulations, in my opinion. But if we're all playing pickleball and doing podcasts, because the thing is, he's like, people become personal trainers. Well, who are you going to be a personal trainer for? This is what people are like. They're like, okay, just train to do these other jobs, right? Plumber, welder, nurse. But who's going to pay you? We can't all be personal trainers. We can't all be plumbers. We have to be plumbers for people who have jobs doing something else, because otherwise we'd all fix our own pipes. Construction workers, they'll last for a while, but people still have to buy houses that aren't construction workers. Unless we're just going to go back to building our own houses, unless we're all going to become Amish, who already have shit figured out. They probably have the best model, the Amish. They're probably the smartest amongst us all. They're like, okay, we see where things are going. You guys have fun. We're just going to keep things simple. We don't take any vaccines. We don't have any health problems, really. We have a traditional lifestyle. We live in a community. We use horses. We don't worry about electric cars catching on fire. We feed them. We live. You guys do your thing. Use your cell phones. We don't need the technology. We don't need to participate. And whatever happens, they'll be fine. No matter what. They're so apocalypse prepared. But even they have to do work for the rest of us, for the normies. They make furniture mostly, apparently, and sell it to us. They make furniture by hand, which is quaint. But robots will do that pretty well, too. Oh, so sad. Let's see if I have any more AI news. The government says, let's see. I have political news too. Here we go. The government says they're getting involved with AI now. This is the bull case for AI corporations. It's like, even if humans are all unemployed and can't pay their fees anymore, the government will just start paying for it, which maybe is true. This is what the Trump administration is planning to do. And the Trump administration already has passed an executive order, I believe, saying that states can't individually regulate AI because AI companies don't want to be regulated or have to follow 50 different states' regulations to do their thing, which I don't disagree with, actually, but many people object to it. And now they're going to integrate AI with their science and engineers. So let's listen to that.
With this pen today, President Trump signed an historic mission. This is reminiscent of the Manhattan Project that brought World War II to an early and successful end, similar to the Apollo projects that put a man on the moon in 1969. This is an all-in national effort to take the power of AI and pair it with the 40,000 outstanding scientists and engineers at our national labs to use the world's largest supercomputers to advance innovation and science, to fix our rising energy costs, to give better economic opportunities for our citizens, to make longer and healthier lives possible. Today was not incremental, Brett. It was transformative. With this pen today, President Trump signed an historic.
So there you go. That's what the government's doing. So we're already getting integrated with government. There's already that country in in Eastern Europe that has an AI government employee, which looks for corruption. We're not that far off that. I mean, Doge was supposed to be mostly AI. We got rid of Doge. Doge was going to analyze everything, mostly using computers, to find out where we're wasting money. And we eliminated Doge. But so that's the government getting involved. Okay. These are the different takes. I just bookmarked these from just two random individuals to show you how different people are thinking about the future and what people are going to do when they don't have to work anymore and they have their needs met. The positive view, these are very non-viral tweets. I just marked them because it shows you the difference between what utopists are thinking and what dystopists are thinking of the future of not having to work and getting UBI, basically. So Zav on the utopia side says what we're going to do is raise families, work with their hands for passion, play sports, and explore the solar system, travel the globe, take part in scarcity as a service or hardship as a service programs, educate themselves, play video games, dance, and create. Find fulfillment in connection and opportunity. So this is where I was saying, he's saying hardship as a service. So it's like, so people are going to have to synthesize hardship because we kind of need to struggle to feel like we did something. So there will be people selling that, I guess. Hardship as a service. So we'll have to synthesize what it's like to struggle, basically. Because the struggle is part of the human experience. That's how we feel accomplished, basically, is by struggling. So he's saying somebody's going to sell us programs where they're going to sell us hardship, synthetic hardship. We'll have video games, I suppose, where we're poor and have to like work our way out of it because we won't experience it anymore. Oh, it's possible. So here's the negative side from somebody called Sunny. It says, sitting on your bed, sofa, or desk all day, staring at a screen isn't how we evolve. We are by nature required to struggle in order to learn, grow, and thrive. If robots took away all of our struggles, we'd become bored, depressed, and go crazy like many of the zoo animals. Which I believe would happen to maybe the majority of people simply because of our biological programming. We're just designed to suffer. And that's kind of like what Jesus taught us too. We're designed to suffer. We're supposed to suffer. Suffering is part of the thing. Even Buddhism, like, life isn't supposed to be awesome. Scarcity as a service. This was big news as far as what we're eating. This is to keep costs lower, probably because of inflation. Campbell Soup's VP and Chief Information Security Officer was secretly recorded saying the company uses bioengineered meat. Their products aren't healthy and that it's mostly poor people who buy them. Here's the secret camera video of what we're eating now.
A former Campbell Soup Company employee is taking legal action against the food giant, and he's making some explosive allegations about one of its top executives. Good evening, and thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Ty Steele.
I'm Kimberly Gill. Those allegations are now at the center of a lawsuit claiming the company's vice president went on an hour-long tirade attacking the company's products and employees before taking aim at its customers.
And the former employee recorded it all. Eric Erickson shares that recording and what the company is saying about it.
We have shit for poor people. Who buys our shit?
And that's just part of an over an hour-long rant, says former security analyst for Campbell's, Robert Garza of Monroe.
I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's unhealthy. Now that I know what the in it, even in a can of soup, I look at it, look at meat, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer.
The recording allegedly of Campbell's VP and Chief Information Security Officer Martin Bally.
He has no filter.
Bally, along with another supervisor and Campbell Soup Company, named in a lawsuit filed Thursday. The suit claiming Bally made racist remarks, admits to coming to work high, and Garza fired for coming forward.
What do you think about the things that he was saying?
Oh, just pure disgust.
Garza says he usually worked remotely for Campbell's headquarters based in Camden, New Jersey. But thinking he'd be discussing his salary with Bally, he says the recording taken in person at a restaurant.
They couldn't think for the like you dumb
Garza says he felt sick after the rant, deciding to go to his direct supervisor in January, keeping the recordings to himself.
He had never had any disciplinary action.
There you go. Well, that's somebody who's suing over pain and suffering because some guy talked to him. That's another story. But the executive's like, our food is shit. It's bioengineered meat that comes from 3D printers. People are noticing these days that all kinds of food products now have a label on them that says there's bioengineered products in them. like candies and pastas and just regular food that they're used to buying. That all has to disclose that it has some bioengineered products. So that's in the news. Jim says, are you ever going to take calls? StreamYard. If you want to, Jim. I don't get enough people tuned in to take calls. I'm working on it, but I have like a threshold, which I haven't achieved yet, where I find that people call in. Otherwise, I open up the phone lines and get embarrassed because nobody calls. But if you want to call, I can drop a StreamYard link. You want me to? Okay. Let me see if there's anything else we're going to cover here. We have some stuff from Tucker Carlson saying he hates Republicans. There's a lot of stuff going on. I was listening to something today that was like Republicans are actually united, and that this is what I heard today. And I had to tune out because they didn't have any dissenting voices. It was like, is the Republican Party split up? And every single person was like, no. Real Republicans, or the real base, all supports Israel, all supports bombing Iran, didn't like Marjorie Taylor Greene, don't care about the Epstein files. That's what all these people said. They were like, the real base didn't care about the Epstein files, supports Israel, doesn't like Marjorie Taylor Greene, liked bombing Iran. The real base. And that's why you see the numbers I showed you on the CNN that showed the polls. 87% of Republicans still support Trump, the same as 6 months ago, apparently. So whatever they're saying, the polls seem to reflect perhaps what they're saying amongst what people who label themselves as Republicans. They still support Trump, almost 90%. But I can't discount what's happening. I just don't believe it. And maybe those people are called independents who maybe at one time identified as MAGA and never as a Republican, who supported Trump before and no longer support Trump. The argument is that they're all foreign bots. That's what everybody's saying now because of this whole Twitter thing that like reveals where people are from. They're like, oh, Nick Fuentes, he doesn't even have American supporters. So they're totally discounting something that I believe is 100% real, which is that people don't support Israel. People don't support H-1Bs. People don't support these other the people are upset that people want the Epstein files to come out, like a lot of Republicans or people who voted for Trump, whether they're Republican or not, wanted the Epstein files to come out, really care about the Epstein files. I think that that's all true, and a lot of those people aren't going to vote Republican the next time around and did last time, whether it's Republicans or people who voted Republican last time are en masse questioning whether they're going to do that again. So, but then what people are saying is like, oh, it's all foreigners, especially if they're anti-Israel. They're like, oh, podcasters say things that are anti-Israel and get a lot of traffic, but it's actually foreigners, which I don't believe either. So, but that's what people are saying. They're blaming the entire America First movement basically as being like based out of Qatar or something. But I don't believe it. Maybe some of it. Not saying it's not a thing, but what about the Israel First Republicans that are being supported with money from Israel or money from rich American Jews who support Israel first? That's foreign money too, in my opinion. Even if it's coming from people who are Americans, they might be dual citizens like Miriam Adelson. That's foreign money too. That's foreign support too. So either way, it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black. But here's Tucker Carlson saying what he feels about the Republican Party. We already had Alex Jones saying he might be turning on Trump. So here's what Tucker's saying.
And on the Republican Party, which is almost to the point where it's just useless, and I'm going to have to oppose it because I hate them too much, but because they're such betrayers. But anyway, in the Republican Party, it's like, you a socialist? Are you from Mondani? No, not really a socialist. Just, I don't want any more dollar stores. I don't want high density housing in my neighborhood. I don't want any more fucking strip malls that nobody goes to. No more karate studios and vape shops. Like, how about no? Ooh, socialist? You don't believe in the free market because you bribed a fucking county commissioner to build more garbage? You don't even live here?
Mm-hmm.
In a normal society, we'd like burn your strip mall down. So you can't do that here. You can't turn my women into prostitutes. Sorry, OnlyFans. And you can't destroy the landscape that I live in. No. How about no? That's not crazy, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, no.
And you can't take all my tax dollars and then refuse to do anything about child molestation. Like, the whole reason you exist, county commissioners, is to protect my daughters from getting molested, but you won't because, like, why?
So Tucker and Nick Fuentes both have a problem with what's called the free market, which is what allowed people to build strip malls and stuff because people go there. And I go to the vape shops, and I appreciate the vape shops. I appreciate them being open, and I'll go there. I ordered online because California's mostly banned vaping, but I sometimes drive very far to go to a town where the local law enforcement doesn't crack down on vaping, even if it might be kind of illegal what they're selling there. But I still believe in free markets. I just believe they have to be regulated minimally. But the new right, Tucker Carlson has always been a little bit interesting when it comes to capitalism. Anybody who says we all deserve cheap housing isn't really a free market person. If they say reduce regulation so that people can build housing faster and cheaper, that is a Republican talking point, and that's good. But if they just want to say, oh, housing should be cheaper, we need to make it more affordable, etc., well, they have to say how they plan to do that. Otherwise, you get Mamdani, who freezes the rent, which isn't a capitalist solution. It actually hurts people. But that's the new thing. I mean, Republicans are, unless they have policies, they no longer believe in free markets because they think they've been screwed by free markets, which I can understand. But it's actually because the markets haven't been free, because the government intervenes too often. But that's Tucker Carlson saying he hates Republicans. People are upset with him about that. Tucker Carlson also says that Zionism is an attack on Western civilization. I'll play that since we're talking about Tucker Carlson clips.
They're enemies of Western civilization. Who are these people? Are they the Muslims? Are they the Jews? Are they, whatever people have always... No. They're not the Muslims. They're not the Jews. They're not the blacks. They're not whatever group you're blaming. They're any individual who doesn't acknowledge the human soul. Period. That the rights begin and end with the individual, not the group. Therefore, an attack on Western civilization looks like this. It's tribalism. It's identity politics. It's DEI. It's whatever. It's Zionism. It's any belief system that begins with the understanding that one group is morally superior to other groups. We don't think in terms of groups as Christians or Westerners. We think in terms of the individual. It's literally that simple. And the reason it's important to say this out loud is because there are so many interests vying for the mantle of defender of Western civilization. What does it mean to defend the West? I'm a Western, Netanyahu, I'm a defender of Western civilization. No, you're its enemy. Of course. You're literally its main enemy. Why? Because I don't like you. It has nothing to do with that. The reason that Netanyahu is an enemy of Western civilization is because he believes and has said out loud that we're fighting these people because of how they were born, because of their inherent evil. We don't believe in that. We believe every person is inherently flawed, but salvageable because God made every person. Why are the Nazis bad? The Nazis are bad because for that exact same reason. And so if you want to defend the West, you defend a single proposition, and everything emanates from that proposition. The individual has rights which were given to him by God. Period. You don't have to be a Christian to defend that principle. There are a ton of Muslims and Jews and everybody else who believe that. So it's not about hate this group, hate that group. All of that shit is anti-Western.
What he said, according to the definition of anti-Semitism, which has been adopted in many places, I believe it's IHRA, I believe. It's like Holocaust Remembrance Association. The definition of anti-Semitism is you can't compare what Israel does to Nazis. And actually, he just kind of did. But actually, he points out something that's true, which is that it's a supremacist state. It's actually, in a way, a supremacist religion, according to their texts. In the Talmud, it says that Jews, specially, have a unique kind of soul, which comes from a holy source, which the Goyim don't have. And in as much as Israel is a secular state, you can imagine that animating their actions when they starve people, cut people's water off, shoot people who are waiting for food, etc., bomb journalists who aren't Jewish. So what he's saying, though, if you say that, technically, by the definition that's been adopted many places, including like 30 US states, I believe, that's technically anti-Semitic to say. To compare Israel or the Jewish people of Israel or the Jewish state of Israel to the Nazis. But it which is problematic because the religion itself is in many ways supremacist. That's all, in a way that Christianity is not. That's Tucker's point. But I can see why they call him an anti-Semite, because they've made rules that make it anti-Semitic to compare the Jewish state to Nazis, even though they have an apartheid state and it's a supremacist ideology. So that's Tucker. They hate him. All right. I have more stuff. I'll play this news. Putting criminals in jail is racist, says Brandon Johnson. This is an issue.
We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down. We can.
Well, that's what you can argue, I guess. It's only racist if the people being incarcerated don't commit the crimes. It's racist if you lock people up who didn't do anything. But if you're letting people free who commit crimes over and over and over again, just because they're black or another minority, then that's not exactly helping either. But that's still the claim in Chicago, that jail is racist. So a lot of people are talking about this, including Elon Musk. They say the vast majority of violent crime is committed by an incredibly small proportion of the population. It's not even that you can say it's black people. It's a small subset of people who might be overrepresented by certain minority groups, if I'm trying to put it politely. But if crime is committed more disproportionately by minority groups, then incarcerating those people to prevent them from committing more crimes may be appropriate. People are arguing. I'm putting it in a very nice way. Somebody wanted to see the cocaine coming out of Zelensky's nose. I saw that in the comments. Thank you. I'll play that. Here's the video. 3 seconds. See if you can catch it. And then I have edited video that shows it looks like it comes directly out of his nose. They've taken close-ups. So I'll play this.
Дуже предметно
I'll
координувати
play it
нашу
over and
дипломатію.
over again.
Дуже предметно
Watch there.
координувати нашу дипломатію.
Watch.
Дуже предметно
There.
координувати нашу дипломатію. Дуже предметно координувати
It
нашу
shoots
дипломатію.
right out of his nose.
Дуже предметно координувати нашу дипломатію. Дуже предметно.
It really does shoot right out of his nose. But everybody knows he's coked up. A lot of people use cocaine. It's a hell of a drug. A lot of live streamers use cocaine, I believe. Let's see if they have the... That's not it. Here's a close-up that shows it very close to his nose. But there's the still that people were able to capture, where a big chunk of it comes right out of his nose. I believe it. So allegedly, I should say, allegedly has cocaine come out of his nose. But we've seen a lot of images of him. People use drugs. Rich people use drugs more than poor people. Rich people drink a lot more than poor people, according to statistics. So I'm not surprised. So that's the video of that. All right, Jim wants to call in. I'll drop the link, Jim. Just looking at the tweets. David says, looks like a tissue. Well, if you've seen the other videos of him, it's a little harder to argue. He's does a lot of sniff. Okay, present or invite? Invite guest. Okay, B. Marbusker. I can put comments on the stage. And I'm at, an hour and 57 minutes. Okay. Hopefully this is an enjoyable stream for everybody. Didn't cover the main topic this whole time. I'll see if I change the title for the podcast. I haven't talked totally about the economy. Spending is out of control. The government just spent more money in October than during COVID. So we're going further and further into debt. There are a few corporations propping up the entire economy, like 7 corporations, 7 American corporations. What's up, Jim?
How's
Welcome.
it going, man?
Going well. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Just chilling. Happy Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Thanks, man. You too. Yeah. I'm headed to my Thanksgiving place after this show.
That's great. I was thinking about something you were talking about, like if they want people to not have jobs and yet have money and have nothing to do, but they might have something to do. But after a while, there'll be a lot of self-deletion, especially if they love their jobs and just all, like Elon seems like he's part of the WEF,
Yeah.
It feels like
techno feudal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
really out of control.
He's talking about universal basic income more than everybody. So for that one guy to say it's just Democrats who are going to push it, it doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like it's just going to be Democrats.
Yeah,
It's going to be these
across-
AI corporations trying to keep people mollified.
Yeah, and that's like, and corporatism holds hands with capitalism. So you know, the way we have Trump in there, like that, it's all going to be. It's I hate to be a black pillar, but I mean, what can we get next? We're gonna get Kamala. I mean, like, what's next, right?
I don't know what's going to happen in 2028. In 2026, the Democrats, as of right now, are likely to win because people are upset about costs, and the Democrats are going to propose solutions that are more socialist in nature.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So they're probably going to win. You know, Imam Dani just won, being an avowed socialist and talking about socialist policies. So because people feel poor, because they are poor, because of the messed up money system we have that makes everybody poorer and poorer, they're looking for government handouts. But eventually it's going to be corporate handouts.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of crazy. Because corporations want to keep all the money for themselves. So why would they be giving out money?
I don't know. See, in fact, like as far as stockholders are concerned, as far as corporate rules are concerned, their primary motivation by law is to return value to shareholders. It's not to make people happy or make humans survive.
That's right.
You know, it's a corporate rule if you're a publicly traded company that you need to do the most you can to maximize profits. So I don't know how they're going to justify giving handouts to people under those corporate rules.
Yeah. And I mean, imagine pharmaceutical companies giving handouts. I don't think that's going to happen. Other companies might do it because they feel like they have no choice. Who knows, man? That's just like a strange dystopian future.
Yes. Yeah, it is a strange dystopian future. I'm not necessarily not looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to playing pickleball.
Yeah, there you go.
Podcasting.
Anyway, man, I'll hop off. Thanks for having me up, dude.
Okay, good to see you, man. Glad you're doing good.
I'm glad you're back, brother. It's good.
Thanks, dude. I'll try to keep it up.
All right, yeah, keep going, man.
All right, dude. Sweet. That's Be More Busker from Baltimore. People are arguing that it could be Kleenex coming out of his nose. Are you a Russian bot? Are you a Ukrainian bot? I don't think he would have a little piece of Kleenex up his nose, most likely, based on what I've seen in the past. It wasn't like a little piece of tissue because it didn't clog his whole nose. You said who hasn't rolled up little pieces of tissue to put in your nose when you have a runny nose? Sure. But it didn't look like a tissue. It looked like a chunk of cocaine. That's what it looked like. A tissue would plug up your whole nostril. And if it came out, it'd be pretty big. If you're trying to plug a runny nose, it would have to fill up your whole nostril, not like a little ball of cocaine that people who use cocaine know happens. But I appreciate it. I'll accuse you of being a Ukrainian bot. We'll have to check your location. All right, guys, we did 2 hours. It's pretty good. We're going to get to our Thanksgiving location. We'll run our AI on this stream, see if we have any shorts. And we'll be back to you probably on Black Friday. We can't stay away too long. We can't take a vacation like everybody else. We have to keep occupied. I have to keep myself occupied. So I'll probably be back Friday, most likely. So thanks everybody for sticking with the show. Appreciate people wishing well wishes. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And keep on keeping on. Okay? So for now, that's what it is.